Join me for a few moments as we wrap up our week in Psalm 22. This psalm, as we studied yesterday and as we read yesterday, is a psalm that foreshadows and prophesies the Messiah and the suffering of the Messiah, the suffering of Jesus. It's literally a description of the crucifixion and the suffering of Jesus. So I want you to think about how much you're loved. I want you to think with me about how Jesus bore your sin, what he went through to redeem you, to give you the life you have right now, and the hope you have right now, and the peace you have right now. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? He was forsaken by God so that you would never have to be. Jesus bore forsakenness, which means you are not forsaken by God. You may wonder if you are. You may want to know how to come into that unforsakenness. Well, only through Jesus. You accept that he was forsaken for you. By faith, you place your trust in him. He comes into your life, makes you God's, redeems you, gives you new birth and new life, so that you can never be forsaken. Why art thou so far from helping me and from the words of my roaring? I'm curious about that word roaring. It means literally to groan. So this image of Jesus is that he is so suffering, and he feels so far from God that God has removed himself. So think about this. Jesus went without help so that you never would have to go without help, okay? Now, you might be thinking, well, God doesn't seem to be helping me. Wait for it. He will. In time, in the right time, he's doing his purposes. He will help. And you've never been without his help. The fact that you could open your computer and log on to this broadcast or download this broadcast or watch this devotion is the grace of God reaching out to be a help to you. The technology, the open word, the view of Jesus, it's all God's hand of grace reaching out to help you. Why? Only because Jesus went without his help. On the cross, Jesus could have chosen to be helped, or he could have chosen to go without help so that you never would have to go without help. So you'd always be within reach of help. And what an awesome thought. Oh my God, verse 2, oh my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not. In the night season, and am not silent. So this is a man who's day and night suffering, crying out, but not forsaking God. God's forsaken him, but he hasn't forsaken God. That's profound. Oh my God, you're still my God. No matter what you do to me, you're still my God. No matter what you allow, what you permit. You see, in the worst picture of human suffering, God was bringing about the greatest blessing of human history. In the worst moment of brutality and bloody suffering and brokenness, the battering, literally the emaciation, the slaughtering of Jesus was bringing about the redemption and the rescuing and the eternal blessing of anyone who would believe in him. I guess the point is, what you're going through or what you're looking at and questioning the heart of God, what you're dealing with, what you look at in society that causes you to question your faith, is nothing compared to the brutality of what Jesus went through. And yet, God was doing his greatest and most beautiful victory in that suffering. So surely, God is good enough and brilliant enough and powerful enough to bring beautiful, splendid, but spectacular. So I'm suffering, I'm forsaken, you're not hearing me, you have left me. So verse 3 contrasts, thou art holy. O thou that inhabitest the praises of Israel. God, you're still good. God, you're still right. God, you're still perfect. God, I'm not accusing you. I'm not slandering you. I need you. You feel far from me, but you are still holy. You still inhabit the praise of Israel. You still respond to praising, worshiping hearts. Look at this. He continues, our fathers trusted in thee. They trusted and thou didst deliver them. They cried unto thee and were delivered. They trusted in thee and were not confounded. So there's a contrast. You're not You're not helping me right now, but you helped them. So I know you're good. I know you're God. I know you're holy. I know I'm not questioning your heart or your nature. I know you're doing something good. And boy, was he. But I am a worm and no man. So now here's the contrast. God, you are, but I. See, Jesus was made a little lower than the angels. Jesus took on the form of man. A worm. I'm a worm and no man. He was emaciated. He was so beaten and brutalized that he wasn't even recognizable as a man. A reproach of men. So the creation that he loved, the creation that he deserved thanks and praise and honor and glory from, the creation that was created to worship him, reproached him, scorned him, despised him, spit on him, beat him. All they that see me laugh me to scorn. You see, Jesus was reproached. He was made a worm. He was beaten beyond recognition. He was despised. He was laughed to scorn. They shoot out the lip. They shake their head, saying, he trusts in the Lord that he would deliver him. Let him deliver him, seeing he delighted. They mocked and scorned him. Why? Jesus bore the scorn to rescue you and redeem you from it. Jesus bore the rejection. Jesus became your sin and your scorn so that he could lift you out of it, rescue you from it, redeem you from it. Look at verse 9, the contrast. But thou art he that took me out of the womb. Thou didst make me hope when I was upon my mother's breasts. I was cast upon thee from the womb. Thou art my God from my mother's belly. Again, I'm experiencing this, but you are this. Therefore, I know. Okay. There's a psychology that's happening here, and it's a bit of a view of the psychology of the cross, the psychology of what was going on in the mind and heart of Jesus as he was suffering on the cross. And so, my friend, I want to challenge you today. You may bounce between, God, you're not hearing me, but you are still my God. God, what are you doing? Where are you? But I know you're holy. I know you're still good. I know you're God. And you're right. This is going to go better. And he remembered back, verses 9 and 10. You're still my God. You've been my God. You will be my God. You're my God for my whole life. You've brought me this far. You're going to bring me all the way through. He's a good God. He suffered for you. He suffered for me. And that's how loved you are.